Hey everybody, this is Colette Baron-Reid. Wow, we are at November. Now, people from all over the world watch these videos. So this is a real general reading of the energies, though, that are affecting all of us collectively. So it's not country to country, although each country may be experiencing their own collective experience that is their own. However, there is something going on globally. And if you're meant to watch this video and you see how it could apply to you, this is also personal in that, macro and the micro. So as above, so below. I'm not even preparing for this. I'm using the Shaman's Dream Oracle. We're in Scorpio season, and this is a really beautiful oracle to go deep. And I created this with Alberto Vialdo, my friend. And I'm not even preparing this reading. I am just heading straight in live, and I'm not really preparing what I'm going to say. So I'm going to ask the universe, and that's what I always do. We are in partnership with spirit or partnership with the quantum field, or, the universe is in me and I am in at that. I want to see a reflection of what's going on this month and what is some of the guidance for our highest good. And what are we observing, right? So then you get to choose how you respond, knowing what you know in advance. So I'm going to choose the first. I'm going to do a 15 card reading. So there are 3 cards here. Oh, so interesting. Wow. Okay. So the 2 cards so these are so gorgeous. My friend Jenna de la Gratalia, I think this is the last deck I did with her. So beautiful, her art. Okay, so I'm going to explain this to you. This is a really interesting reading. So the 2 things that come up distinctly together are the cards called the Dream Thief, and the other card is Mindful or Groupthink, right? So we have the Dream Thief and we have Mindful or Groupthink. And I'll weave the whole story together in a second. And then in the center, the most important card, the anchor card, is the galactic mushroom, which represents the divine matrix. Now we all, or divine matrix or quantum field or whatever, and we all have a tendency to look at relationship, especially when we're talking about manifestation, which is what I've been focusing on since I've been writing a book on it. That's coming out in September with art as its the interplay around art and neuroscience and manifestation and mysticism. There's a tendency for us to believe that that the universe somehow, or God or whatever, is engaging with us only in a positive way, right? That, in other words, if we're good, we're going to get something. If we're bad, we'll be punished. And we all know that's not true. If we could see the universe more as, of course, the divinity is the fact that we are not separate from it or anyone or the earth, or everything is alive and brimming with life force energy, but it is a neutral force. So, and when I say that if we're going to plant a weed, that's going to grow. No matter what we plant in the field, into the field, if we are consistently rehearsing it over and over and over again, we are going to see more of it. And that's just the way that works. And it consistently is true. So when there are groups of people who are very, very collectively determined in a particular direction, any of the individual plans tend to temporarily be circumvented, right? So if you have certain plans that need to be in alignment with some external circumstances, or at least you think they do, then you will have a comeuppance this month, right? Because nothing is going to be as it seems. This is a very clear thing here, that the group think is a viral thing. In other words, that because we have the Dream Thief there as the card that describes the group think, it tells me both, like, which are you going to pick, right? The thief of dreams or spirit, right? Which one? Are you going to engage this one consciously and mindfully and deeply, given that this is what this month requires of every one of us, no matter where you are in the world? Or are you going to acquiesce, give away your power, look for somebody else to lead you without you making your own choices, or also refusing the call when it's uncomfortable, right? So it's the idea of like okay, I've been called to something, but I'm allowing the outer world, the dictates of the outer world, the noise and the drama of the outer world to decide for me whether or not I can take my next step forward, right? And this is common to everyone, but it's like that kind of test, right? We're being tested in so many ways. No matter where you are, this is what is happening. It's the core of what the energy is for the month of November. This is not hopeless. This is actually very hopeful, because it says that if more of us, and in this case, when you think about transformation, you think about the imaginal cells of a butterfly, for example, you don't need every single cell in the caterpillar to become a butterfly. You only need a handful of what's called imaginal cells. And when you have a small handful, a concentrated handful that is focused on bringing nature back into a conversation, which means to bring things back into coherence, because nature's always going to bring it back to coherence. Nature always was adaptable and resilient, etc. And we are part of nature. And yes, obviously, when there's big cycles of destruction or things that are changing, we think that's all that we're going to be faced, right? So it's going to be that way forever, and it's not. So this is suggesting to us, all of us, that if this is going on and you're noticing that, you have an opportunity to self-reflect. It's like, into me I see. That's Scorpio season is all about intimacy. That deep layer of intimacy, and what is our life force energy? Because also it's about the phoenix rising, right? There you have that. You have the scorpion, which is self-protective, but you also have the idea of that, that real heavy sexual energy that comes along with it. And I actually, probably heavy is not the right word, but intense. I'll say intense. That, what is that? Well, that's about the little death, right? So the idea that part of us dies to be reborn, right? That's the phoenix, right? That's why they call orgasm, for example, a little death. Now, why the hell is Colette talking about that? Because we are looking at a release, right? I'm really not talking about sex. That's how it shows up in the human body. It's not about that. It's about a release in order to be born again. That's what this is. This is what the whole energy theme is for November. And it is always looking at the outer world and the people around us and how we respond to the mirror that is being held up, because our responses and our reactions tell us something about us. Tell us about, am I being swept away by other people's opinions? So I'm going to go along with that without questioning anything. This is a really, really interesting time when the groupthink card comes up. It's about, are we swept away by this mob psychology, for example, or are we really clear about the things that we desire and why, right? So it's really important to know our why this month. And also, nobody wants to hear it when I say this, trying to understand the other, that they are not other. Stop trying to other the other, right? Because the other is you and you are them. And understanding at some point has to come, but there is going to be some form of shock and awe this month that we are not expecting, that will create a need for us to look closely at our choices and what's important to us at the bottom line at the end of the day. What is it? Are we that much different from the others? Okay, so now it's not even about ideology at this point anywhere on the planet. It's about how do we really want to feel and how do we really want to live, and how do we get back to being inclusive and part of this extraordinary whole that life offers us, whole being WHOLE, not falling into a hole, which we could do too, but we're not going to. Okay, so let's see I'm going to lay out the rest of the cards and see. So I do them this way. That's interesting. Here we go. So now let's just see where we're going with this. So naturally, where are all of us heading? It's really cool. We've got the caterpillar, which is opportunity, and it's called cat-er-pillar because a cat is very much a symbol of independence, right? So there's a sense of thinking for yourself. And experiencing life as it comes, the drifter, as well as overflow, which is both plenty and overwhelm, right? So this is, again, makes a lot of sense. I think this is already in process right now at the beginning of the month. We know, especially with the new moon coming on the 1st, you'll have probably seen this already. You're about to watch the video, but it's very clearly reminding us that there are great and amazing opportunities when things are this chaotic or when things are this intense, right? That's that idea that new life being born out of the old, and it wants to be born. It wants to be born so badly. It's like saying, okay, but it's up to not everybody. Doesn't have to be everybody. Remember the imaginal selves. You don't need everybody to be on the same track. You only need a small concentrated group of individuals focused on an outcome that is for the highest good of all, not even knowing what that is, right? It's okay. But really looking at that both and, like life on life's terms, which is the drifter card, and overflow, which is recognizing plenty and that you do have choices, right? There are choices. And it is a warning that this month can be overwhelming, right? So taking care of yourself. These are just the natural flow of events. Now let's take a look at the nature of our obstacles, or basically what cards show up. So it's the nature or the help, like how do we work with our obstacles or our perceived limitations? So great. I love these cards. I haven't used them in a while. They're so accurate. Okay, so I'm going to show you these. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place. So horned cactus is in the center. So that's resourcefulness. And flanking this is so great. It's grace and generosity, which is the benefactor card. Shout out to you, Jenna. This art is amazing. And then heart home, which is about compassion. Okay, so this is already in play. It's already in play. It doesn't mean we have to go along with anyone else. It just needs for us to see others as us, that we are not othering. There are no others. There are differences of opinions and ways that people believe are the right way to proceed. So both parties, or maybe there could be 5 parties, believe their way is the right way. The idea here is what this is saying is that everybody's going to be at some point, maybe it's the seed of it is now, I don't know if it actually happens in November or not, that we need to come together to figure it out, not separate from the others, but actually together. So there is a lot of the beginning of, I need to reach across somewhere in the middle here it's not this or that, it's all of it. And it's this too, right? So how do we do that? But it does say that it's already built in. So this is organic. We're not going to have to try to figure anything out. We don't have to work so hard on coming up with answers, right? No, it's already built into what perceived obstacles. So we're already being invited there. I love these next 3 cards, which is what's spirit doing? Like what's already going on? Like that was the obstacle cards, which is like, oh, wow. Like within the perceived obstacles, which seem insurmountable, by the way, right? We all feel that these are insurmountable obstacles. Oh my God. And this is like saying, not really. So if we approach these things in a completely opposite way than we are, basically, much more neutral, again, that whole neutrality, which doesn't say I don't still stand up for myself. Neutral is more the observer. So I'm going to change the neutral word because I think people can mistake that for I don't care. This is more witnessing, the observer, observing it with that sense of I am seeing what I see as opposed to I am that which I see, right? So it's like, okay, what am I learning here? It's really more the witness. And when I say that the universe is neutral, it depends. It actually works best when we surrender. We have no attachment. That's the other thing. So neutrality needs our non-attachment. But the same thing, if we're going to work with a neutral, if we're going to work with a universe that reflects us back to ourselves, then we say, well, then what is it that we want to transmit? What am I transmitting? What is the frequency I'm transmitting to other people, to the world? What am I actually adding, or am I not? Right. So this is, again, a really great month of self-reflection. Now, Fortune's Wheel. luck and right timing. So this is what Spirit's doing for us. Okay. This is what when Spirit is working on our favor, right? So Fortune's wheel. So many more second chances. This is about second chances. This is about opportunity. This is about each one of us being very aware when we have basically said, this is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I want to become. That we recognize that the opportunities are lining up for us because we are at a point in our lives, like the next year, really into 2026, it's an opportunity to completely reinvent ourselves. It's really, really powerful and positive. The universe is your partner in the hand. This is what we need to remember. We are not alone, even if temporarily we feel that we are. And then over here is Woodwives, the adaptability card. So this is, again, already, but Spirit's helping us with this. The universe is actually really saying, okay, there's enough of you, obviously, right, that we're going to set this up. If you're willing to be conscious, if you're willing to be aware, if you're willing to, do some of the things that were implied earlier, this can be a whole lot easier for you, is basically what it's saying. You don't have all the answers, and you don't know that everything that you're looking at is all the information that you need. You don't have it, right? So this is like, oh, good. I don't know. So show me what I can know. What could I know? What do I follow then? And this is very clearly saying, if you're willing to be resilient and adaptable, if you're willing to step back and not be so personal, and still by saying, this is what I want, like I want that, and then I'm going to do whatever I can for that outcome, and then surrendering it, and then we'll see. But that outcome isn't dead. That's the other thing. You might have planted a seed that might take longer than you want to come out to pop up out of the ground. It's kind of like the cicadas that go to sleep for 17 years. Not to say it's going to take 17 years for the thing that you want to manifest, but it's more about, we don't know the natural cycles of things. We think it's totally gone, and it may not be. So it's really important that you're very clear about your why and about the what. And then to also say, okay, I've done all I can, and know that you've done all you can. You can't be an armchair astronaut these days. This is not the time for that. Do a lot of self reflection. Keep asking what's my why? What's my motive? What's my why? And then trusting that desired outcome, that outcome that is going to serve the highest good. We just don't know the when or the how. We have to surrender that, give that over, because it's only through over being too attached to things that we get all muddy. What can we expect? What can we expect for November? The perfect storm. Okay, so we know it's going to be stormy. So the perfect storm, but it's telling us to have courage. This is not the time to put your head in the sand. This is a time, the courage to step into life and say, this is, what I'm calling for. And let the other person say, this is what they're calling for. But don't give up. It's like, say, do, act as if, hold space for the thing. And you will see, because that seed that you plant is going to take root. You have to trust that, even if in the moment it appears that it is not. Now, first breath, here's what's great about this, because the two cards flanking the anchor card is the beloved, which is radical acceptance, and first breath, which is beginner's mind. So none of us know what to do. This is basically saying, no matter what happens in the month of November, we don't know yet. And that is the best place to be, in a place of deep-seated curiosity and the willingness to explore possibilities without having to know all the parts in advance. We are the explorers. And when we hit Sagittarius at the end of the month, when we actually look for those bigger truths, and there's a lot of ways for us to contemplate what went on in the early part of November, it really gives us an opportunity to look for the higher truths that might have been obscured certainly I'm going to say it has been obscured as of late, because now that also, and again, for those, I know enough about astrology. I love astrology. I read about it all the time, whatever. I'm not an astrologer. I don't want to be one, but I know that astrology you must pay attention to the astrology. If you are going to work with all the tools, got to look there too. And we know, I was just looking at Pam Gregory's YouTube video, who I love her. She's so fabulous. And Colin Bedell is another person I absolutely love. He's like my soul son. He's mostly on Instagram. But they give really great perspectives, very, very different, about what's going on. And what I'm hearing, particularly from Pam, is that working with these energies, now that Pluto is moved out of Capricorn, we're done now. Like we're now looking at what is the highest good for the group, what's better for us, what's the philosophy that will help more people, the many rather than the few. So this is going to be an interesting time to see what actually happens. Yeah, we're in for a ride, all of us right now. I'm excited because I think, and I really am one of those people that believe, I'm not just a Pollyanna for the sake of being one. I mean, I know that even when there's big destructive things happening in the world, it can take a long time to heal from those things. And so it's never to minimize or diminish what's actually going on. But I have hope that is tangible and I can taste it. And I know that we have all chosen to be here at this time to witness these things. So just remember, we're here as witnesses as well as participants. You must participate in co-creating your reality deliberately, but also know that there is a higher plan. And we don't always know what that is. So love you lots, all of you. And please take care of you. I'll give you a really quick exercise to reduce stress. I learned this from Donna Eden's group. It's called the figure eight. You can look it up online. And all you do is trace a figure eight around your eyes until you start to yawn. And when you're in stress, don't even think about it. Doesn't matter where it came from or why. Just do this over and over and over. And you will feel so much better. So much better. Oh, okay. See you in December. Bye.